Hi everyone, Phil Snyder, GunClassUtah.com. Hey, today I'm going to do a video on how to handle door-to-door solicitors, what your rights are with solicitors, and how you can address problems when you have them. So this video today is going to be dedicated to specifically the Kearns Township, Kearns, Utah Facebook community group. Uh, but this video is useful for people that live outside of Kearns, whether you're in a neighboring city, Taylorsville, West Jordan, Murray, something like that. Or this is also for out-of-staters, because laws vary from city to city, from state to state, but they're going to be similar, a lot of them, a lot of entities. And so you want to check your local laws and listings if this is, if you don't live in the city of Kearns, you want to check, but, probably going to be very, very similar. So the reason I'm doing this post is there was a Facebook post that I saw yesterday morning, March 19th in the morning. There was a concerned Kern resident that posted some still images and some doorbell videos of a male dressed in some black clothing. He was out in a snowstorm, knocking door to door. Most of them reported that he was trying to give away free cameras and probably is a solicitor, probably nothing to be too excited about. Uh, in the initial post, there wasn't really a lot of attention drawn to the fact that he actually did have a lanyard that was displayed. You can't really read what it says, but he did, in fact, have a lanyard, something that we learned in a second post that was made later on that evening after a KUTV reporter did an interview with myself and another resident of Kearns on this matter. So it's quite possible that this man is, just out there trying to make a living. My heart goes out to anybody that's doing door-to-door sales. That's got to be a very hard living to make, especially in today's climate when we've got so many scams that are going on and fraud, and we've got all this crime and home invasions and things like that. Uh, you know, so I get that people are concerned. From what I could see from all the videos and everything, it does not appear that if this person is a valid solicitor that he's done anything illegal. And we're going to talk about the rules that they're bound by when they're out there door to door soliciting and what the requirements are. However, if what has been reported by some of the residents are actually true, some of the alleged allegations are that this person was, after there was no answer to the door, walking up to the side of the house on the driveway, uh, even though that's probably not a law violation unless there's a no trespassing sign. Certainly would make probably a reasonable person being uncomfortable that if somebody was walking further onto the property beyond a front entrance door. So I've taken the liberty of pulling up Kearns Municipal Code, Section 5, and this lower one here is 5.17.040 down here. And it says that solicitation is prohibited. And basically, there are exceptions to this, but generally, unless you are an exempt person from soliciting, you are required to go through the city of Kearns to apply for a license to solicit. Okay. And persons exempt from receiving a license from the city of Kearns are found right here, 5.17.030. The first one is under A, if somebody was called to your house by you, they were invited. We'll skip down here to C, persons making deliveries. For example, if you ordered groceries from Harmon's and they delivered those, that would be okay. They're exempt. B, this is a possibility. This guy that everybody's been posted about and talking about that was also aired on KUTV News. Persons whose license, permit, identification badge, or registration with the state of Utah permits them to engage in door-to-door solicitation of goods or services to an occupant of the residence. For example, Let's say that this guy works for a alarm security company, and I believe that security companies that respond to alarms, like ADT Security, for example, they are required to have a license through the state of Utah Department of Professional Licensing, also known as DOPL. Uh, that I believe they are required to receive a license. However, this guy, I believe, what the people were saying, that he was just offering free cameras, which is a little bit suspect, but I've heard of alarm companies offering free cameras, but they're not really free because usually they want you to sign up for a monitoring service to respond to those cameras and those alarms. I'm not aware of, I don't think it is required to be licensed just to sell cameras. And so we really don't know if this guy would qualify under B or not, because nobody's read his ID, who he worked for, or, really got a lot of information. A lot of people were just really nervous. But that is something to consider. Maybe he was licensed through the state and he would be exempt from obtaining a license to the city of Kearns. Take a look at D down here. And basically, this says if they're there for political purposes or religious reasons, for example, if somebody was running for office, or if you had, like, I've had the Mormon missionaries and the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on my door, they're exempt from that. They can sell you religious services, I guess, if they want. E, charitable organizations. And so this is talking about, like, school children, students that are soliciting money to support their school activities and programs. So, we've had the kids selling candy bars, or, maybe they're a high school volleyball team and, they're selling something, that's okay. And so paragraph F down here basically says, okay, so these are exempt persons. However, even though they are exempt, they still have to follow the rules under here 5.17.1 through 5.17.160. Okay, and so we're going to talk about some of the rules that have to be followed by solicitors, whether they're exempt or not. All solicitors, whether they're exempt or whether they're not, and they're required to get a ID badge from Kearns Township through an application process, they have to follow 517, 140, and through 160. So this first one here, this is good news. They have to obey no soliciting signs, whether they're exempt or not. If you've got a sign that's posted on the front door of your home, it says no solicitors, they are obligated to obey those signs and to not knock on your door and to not ring your doorbell. And it is their responsibility under this to check and make sure. There you go. I love this no soliciting sign. I got this on Amazon. They're only $10. I've had this sign on the front door of my home for a couple of years. Pretty effective at keeping solicitors off my doorstep. I do get the occasional, I've had a couple of them knock on the door anyway. It's obviously, I saw them walk up, I saw them read it, and they knocked on it anyway. One in particular, he got really mouthy with me and, kept pushing to do his sales pitch, and I actually had to escort him off of my property. But anyway, this sign right here, for those of you that posted on your Facebook group about this guy that was walking around with this lanyard, this would solve that problem right here. Even if he's got a lanyard, he can't knock on your door with a sign like this. So go get one of these off Amazon if you don't want solicitors on your doorstep. Here's some other duties of solicitors. Like we said, under A here, they're supposed to check for a no solicitor sign before they approach your front door. 1, it says they shall not knock or ring the doorbell if that sign's present, as I mentioned earlier. Under 2 here, it also says they shall immediately and peacefully depart when asked by the occupant of the residence to do so. They must avoid any unreasonable physical contact or touching of another person without their consent. They must not follow a person inside of their residence without their permission. They shall not continue repeated soliciting after a person has communicated a lack of interest in the subject, goods, or services. They shall not use any foul language or fighting words. They shall not use any ruses or deception or fraudulent concealments of their purpose for being there. And under C here, it says any violation of this chapter can result in a penalty. And you'll find out later if you read all of this is a Class B misdemeanor. Okay. Here's another good one under 517.160 up there. Time of day matters. Solicitors are only allowed to knock on your door or ring that doorbell between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Here's another one I like, the next one down. 170 here. You have a buyer's right to cancel within 3 days. If you sign a written contract with a door-to-door solicitor, let's say you bought some solar panels and you decided that you didn't want to do it because of pressure and that was the only reason you signed it, you can rescind that agreement if it's done within 3 business days, and that solicitor is also required to provide you written notice of your rights during that sale. There's your misdemeanor penalty for a violation of any clauses of this chapter is a Class B misdemeanor, punishable by a fine not to exceed $5,000 for each violation. So if you've had a problem with a solicitor in your area and you would like to file a complaint against them, your avenue, you can report it to one of 2 choices. You can either report it to the police. If you live in Kearns, Utah, you can report that to the Kearns Precinct Unified Police Department. And their phone number, I don't know where it is, but you can look that up. You could also report it to Kearns Township, and their number is right here, 801-654-2123. Their address is 4956 West, 6200 South, Suite 527. You can go there and you can file your reports. If these reports result in an investigation and these allegations of any of this activity that I said that we read together was prohibited, then they can have their not only their fine that we talked about, but they can also have their ID badge, their privilege of doing door-to-door sales either suspended or revoked, but they have to be substantiated during an investigation. And that's why it's very important that if you have a problem, if you can record that through a doorbell camera, that interaction, or if you have that, download it to your phone and save it in a file on the computer in case they need that as evidence during their investigation of what happened at your door. You want to get the names and case numbers of the officers that took your report. And when you're out there, ask them if they will be the case manager for your situation, if you need to provide further details, or if followable leads develop, who would you would contact on that. If you know any law enforcement officers that could use some good training on door-to-door solicitors, share this video with them. And I don't mean that in a condescending way at all. I've been a law enforcement officer for 30 years. I worked about 17 of those years in patrol, 70 of those years with the Kearns Magna Precinct. I worked out there from 2007 to 2014. So, some of you probably know me. I don't believe I was wearing my readers at the time. But I know that a lot of you feel like that, police don't really care about crime and maybe they don't respond as good as they could and things like that. I will tell you from an experience that solicitors is really not a big priority with those folks in patrol. I know they can be very busy. It's not because they don't care. It's not because they don't want to help you, but they have a lot of stuff going on. They're very short on manpower. Oftentimes, they're having hiring shortages. That's no excuse, but I'm just saying that officers, at least with my department, they didn't have a lot of good training on how to handle door-to-door solicitors. I think that most of them knew that they had to have a business license or something like that, but I don't believe that officers are aware of all of the prohibited conduct and the process that they go through. So please forward this video to any police officers you know. I know Chief Levi Hughes at the Kearns Precinct. He's your chief over there. I was a field training officer with the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office when he was hired as a new deputy, and I was actually his training officer. Great guy. I like Levi a lot. Uh, really good guy. So, if you're having a problem with a solicitor, don't be afraid to report this over there to the Kearns Magna precinct, or if you've got any questions. Sounds like, in summary of reviewing all of these laws and regulations, it's quite possible that this guy, he did have an ID badge on. We don't know for sure if he's legit or not, but it probably is. He's probably just a door-to-door salesman. He probably just needs some more training in his job, or maybe he's not a good fit for that job based on these allegations that people are saying of some, kind of odd behavior that he's doing that maybe wouldn't be expected by a typical door-to-door salesman. But doesn't sound like what's been reported that this guy's done anything illegal. So, but anyway, that doesn't prohibit you from posting things and things like that. But I do know that sometimes concerned neighbors, things can get out of control a little bit. And I did see some folks posting comments about how they would show them their 9mm and, you know, things like that. And so sometimes these things that can be easily resolved by letting the police handle it can get really out of control, and you yourself can find yourself getting into some problems. So if you like this video, please like and share it. Subscribe to my channel. If you got any videos on any other subjects you'd like me to do, I'd be happy to help you out. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope this was helpful for everybody.